We are
Just
on
zhuzh
the
it up.
air.
That's all that is. Zhuzh it up.
Oh, we're already going?
Yeah.
That gives you the complete definition.
All right, go ahead and get it started.
Awesome.
Where's our thingy or
No.
that? Did somebody? That little our
Oh, it's right
presentation.
there.
Oh, well then we hand it off to let's see. Yeah, we did. Where are those questions at?
So welcome back to Surrender Lab. Again, tonight's Thursday night is COZSNUG night. COZSNUG, you know, you can say it however you want. All the first being cozy and snug with each other. Tonight, you know, we're just getting together in a big group and we're all gonna ask each other some questions about our lives, and we're gonna have some deep conversation and hopefully just, you know, get to know each other better and become more open and vulnerable and authentic with ourselves.
And empowering.
Empowering empathy for ourselves and each other.
The questions to empower.
Yeah. We have a bunch of questions that we've.
Yeah, this is what's going to keep me on the conversation.
We've got a bunch of questions that we've curated to ask each other and to just kind of think about, so we pass them around so you guys can think about them a little bit. All it's about is just, you know, just being open and honest and just kind of looking at our lives and how we want to live them so we can, you know, curate more intentional lives so we can have a more enjoyable, joyful life.
What do you think about it, Mandy? What's going on in your mind right now?
So much. There's so much. Right?
Ready?
Oh god.
Read one of your favorite ones and let's talk about it.
I will. I will.
Yeah, let's say. We're gonna let him read it for a second.
Yeah, good point. Hey, we can just start into these because the more you think about those beforehand, we're not really just having the conversation.
Yeah, it's true. So we're gonna probably
Yeah.
start with one right now.
I want to like get to read them though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're still gonna, you know, you don't have time to think about
But
it.
you go ahead and start.
No, let's just start with the first question. What is something that you are most proud of in your life, and why? Anyone can start, you know, it's like, my God.
Alex, do you have one off the top of your head?
You going? Okay, you go.
I'm most proud of. That's the thing that makes me most happy and proud of. Having you two learn and become the are, and every year has been better. Every year was better. No moment or no bad years. But yeah, like I'm most proud of me. Proud to see your
That's beautiful. Very understandable too, knowing these great men. If I was their dad, I can only imagine Jason. I can resonate with that so much.
What is something that you are currently struggling with, and how can I support you through it? Ashton.
I like this. Currently learning to be more gentle. I always want anyone to point out to me if I ever feel like if I'm ever making them uncomfortable, or not uncomfortable, but if they ever feel like, oh yeah, you know, it might benefit you to slow down right here. You might be skipping over something.
I'm working on that one right now, big time. Probably the biggest thing I'm working on. And Ashton, being around you, because you're just like me, like so like.
How's it going? Good. I'm
That it's so easy to have, like, not care about the easy parts that we can see in our clunkiness, but just the being around you so much and having us both be working on our gentleness and having Brandy being like this constant, always reminder of gentleness. It's like, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Hey, I'm Moroni.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you here. Come on in, sit down, guys. Rona. And who are you?
This is Rhea, Jade, Cassie, and Kay.
Nice to meet you, Rhea. I'm Ken. And Jade. Jade.
It was Ragnar. I'm Moroni.
Oh, Randy.
Randy.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Ashton.
Nice to meet you, brother. Jason. Nice to meet you, Jason.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Mandy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hi guys.
Come on in, I'm fine to see you. Next group, if you want.
Yeah, let's get more.
It's right inside.
I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit
Hi.
down.
Found a seat.
Maybe Ash, let's make some. Let's sit down here and we can be playing these
I
a
can,
little bit. Brandon, you wanna?
I can sit on this.
Should we all sit down in here? Maybe us over here.
Well, if we're sitting in front of the chair, we can sit in the chair.
Well, I figured we just make it work somehow. All right, thanks for being patient, everybody. All right, you guys have no idea what you're in for here,
Oh my gosh.
right?
these
Are you guys nervous? Is this weird being a bunch of strangers? Right? Do we seem like we're nice people? Or
Yes.
we're not gonna steal you guys, or kill you guys, or anything?
Kind of recap, welcome to Surrender Lab. Thursday nights tonight we do a COZSNUG night. Comfy towards others, cozy towards others. Comfortable in a group. Allow yourself to let yourself go and just be yourself and be honest, authentic, and vulnerable. So tonight we ask each other some questions. Here, do you want to look at some of these?
Let's give you a little bit more a little more background on that just for a second. So we found out that in Germany they have this word called Gemütlichkeit. Not pronouncing it exactly right, and in Denmark they have a word called hygge. And those words mean to essentially make yourself cozy toward others. So you're in a cozy and pleasant environment, but you become that yourself so that you just are a relatable thing. So I'm like, why don't we have a word like this in English? Why don't we have a word like this? What is our word that says we're going to be cozy, but not just by ourselves, toward others? Because I found out that I enjoy myself more when I'm collaborating with other people, when I'm actually relating, when I'm relatable. And so we've been now for a long time trying to figure out a word, and we've now put these cozy and snug together, and it just has so many beautiful, deep meanings back and forth. And when you say it, it can sound like co-snug. No matter how you say it, it works, because you're co-snugging, or you're coz-snugging, or you're koj-snugging. And if you're koj-snugging, you're putting the zhuzh in life. And so the official pronunciation of koj-snug is koj-snug. 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 Isn't it a cozy word to say?
Yeah.
It took me a second to get it, but I'm like, this is gonna work. We just said a word into the world that is forever changing humanity. And so here we are being koj-snug tonight. Nobody's right or wrong.
I like it.
Nobody's good or bad. Nobody's this or that.
No.
We're just all here, and we're all just going to be asking ourselves questions to empower our own empathy. So no agenda other than let's empower our own empathy. Because I think we could use it. Don't we all feel like we could use it a little bit?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great.
All right, so that's where we were. So what question were we on, and where were we at? Mandy, is there something on your mind right now that you're wanting to say? You're like beaming, and you're ready to just what's the
Mandy's
question?
happy.
Which question are you feeling most?
They're all so good. They're really good questions. And I want to be able to take this home and actually ask
Please
myself
do,
all
yeah.
and think about all these things. Yeah. I saw a question about one of your favorite things to do in your free time. And I love to get up into the mountains, and I love to be in Red Rock down south. And I love to just be by myself. And
in nature.
yeah, and it just brings me right back to what's actually important, you know? Because you get real caught up down here in all the stuff that isn't as important as you think it is.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an expert at it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So nice.
Where are all the new people?
Where are you?
Let's
from?
introduce
Are you
everybody.
not
Thank you,
here?
Jay. Let's introduce. Let's all get to know each other for 1
You're
second.
doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
We're trying to help
Jay.
them.
You're great.
So we heard Moroni. Moroni, do you wanna introduce yourself to us?
What's your name and how'd you get here, besides a car? Like, you know,
My name
what's
is Moroni Silva. And a good friend of mine, Lincoln Nilsson, invited me to come to this, and
He'll be here in a minute.
I was just open-minded and
Cool.
open-hearted. That's what I've been for the last few years
Okay.
as a hollow bone and doing when I started my path on the Red Road. Started just being guided by Spirit, and this came along. And I was like, oh yeah, it sounds like very empathic. So I'm definitely down to go and talk. Well, one of the things that caught my eye was the question is what is one of the most valuable lessons you've learned in your life and how has it shaped you? Is just recently last year finding out that the true interconnectedness of all of us, which is something that's really, really empowered me to be like, I need to be very, very careful how I treat other people. You know what I mean? Like, so a way that it was shown to me through ayahuasca is that if you were to go out on a corner and you were to see a little 12-year-old little Ken on the corner, just with his head in his hands, just crying, and you could see the tears coming down. What's your first response?
Yeah, am I just gonna keep on driving, or like
No.
wouldn't I like go right straight to him and be like, buddy?
Yeah, hey buddy,
It's
how
gonna
can I
be
make you
okay.
feel better? I don't want you to be crying. Like,
Right.
we should do that to everybody that we see that's like that, because that is exactly who you are. We are the same source coming from that same perspective. And that's what Jesus was talking about, is that once you realize that we are all at one in the moment, at one-ment, atonement, it's like the old law falls away, and the new law is love your neighbors, love yourself as I love one another as I have loved you, because it's like, I am you. And if you were really to truly understand that principle, the 10 Commandments literally fall away. I would never want to kill you. I would never want to steal from you. When you succeed, I would never want to be jealous. I would boast you up in your accomplishments. How can we do more? Like, let's thrive. Instead,
Right.
you know? And so that's one of the things that really, really jumped out to me was number 7 on there. And it's really shaped me the last year, is just being guided and being like, oh, I already have what I need to live. And I'm happy living in a barn. You know, like last few years I was living in a camper, and just to be able to do the spiritual work. And now it's all making sense of why I was doing what I'm doing, and the work that I'm doing is the hollow bone. So thank you for letting me
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you so much for sharing,
so
bro.
happy
Thank
you're
you.
here.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're so welcome here. 100% welcome.
Awesome.
Awesome. I'm Jason. I live here, but I'm really happy you all came to enjoy the space and the lessons and the.
Jason is an amazing individual with a massive amount of bandwidth. One of my
Yeah.
dearest people in life that I have so much respect for.
We're all here doing
Thank you. You
Yeah.
too, Brother Bear.
it.
I'm Cassie.
Hi,
Maya has
Cassie.
been a really good friend of mine since high school. These are my daughters. But
Yeah, for sure. You're very welcome here.
this is my son Canyon.
You did pretty good. You did good.
So nice to have you here, Canyon.
Oh, I'm Brandy. I don't even know what to say. I'm friends with Ken, Ashton, Alex, Jason, Ragnar, very close friends. Part of this snowballing.
We're more than just friends. She just friend zoned me, but we're more than just
You're Ken.
and I'm Ken. And I'm in Hallway.
No, it's not.
Hi,
Yeah, I'm Ken. I'm Ken Sullivan. Going by the artist name Neo now.
Neo.
Neo. N-I-O. And I replaced the potentially exclusive E with an inclusive I, because Neo stands for a new inclusive one. I found out that I could be a new, focus on the new if I want to instead of old, inclusive instead of exclusively walking around thinking people are eventually going to walk around and come around to my special way of seeing things. And then one, because we're all one big thing, and it just keeps me focused on that big black round pupil in all your eyes. That's the same as mine. And when I see it, it's like, oh yeah, it's me. It's the life is a mirror. It's all for me. It's not happening to me. Every one of you is a gift to me right now. And I can just receive every single ounce of what you are. And I know that you're just a unique you that has your unique experience. And so you're my teacher. My teacher, and every moment is instructive. Because it's my choice to be that, your student. So, welcome.
I'm Ashton. Alex, he's my twin. Let's see. I met Ken. How long ago did we meet?
Maybe a year.
We met about a year ago, and we just became instant friends. Just loved each other, and have been collaborating really hard to create this, what we're doing right now. We've been really trying to get a good individuals together to really just grow and become more joyful. I'm just absolutely amazed that I'm getting to be here right now.
And I'll tell you this,
Since we're working from random points in the circle,
you can point at me.
Oh,
Before we leave Ashton, though, I want you guys to know something about Ashton.
You were blocked, honestly. I was leaning back too far.
I was hoping everyone forgot about me so I could just sit here and say something.
You're not forgotten right now. Trust us. You want to tell everybody? Okay. Another time.
So I'm Ragnar. I moved to Utah probably, 6 years ago. Met Ken, how long ago is it now, man?
4 or 5 years.
I don't know.
5, 6, somewhere in there.
We just instantly clicked, and we've just been hanging out, and met Brandy and these other wonderful people too. We just formed a really good friendship.
Tell them where you're from, and tell them a little bit about your background, because it's so fun.
You're pushing me right now, but all right.
You know.
I come from the Faroe Islands. It's 18 little islands in the North Atlantic. Like 52,000 people in total. Yeah.
What are they called?
The Faroe Islands.
Faroe, F-A-R-O-E.
It belongs to the Danish kingdom, so we're essentially Danish, but like a self-governing part of the Danish kingdom.
And they don't speak Danish. Like speak, you want to say a little bit of Faroese?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna understand it anyway.
I know, but say
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, I've never. You're
You
using
talked about hookah earlier.
Yeah.
For us, it would be hookah. Hookah.
Hookah.
Pool knock club.
Say that again.
Pool knock club. That would be like a cozy night around a table, playing games, drinking coffee and stuff. Pool knock club.
I would just say I would like to climb the mountain.
Klintrafjall. Det vi Klintrafjallet. I would climb.
That's awesome.
We have more.
You're inviting me.
getting more and more cozy.
Nice and happy.
We are right now just kind of introducing everybody's introducing themselves, and we're just getting cozy now. Right?
I like
Did you already
that.
hear the
I read-
word? Oh, you read?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I read like half of it.
Hear what your thoughts are, Frankie. Well, welcome, you guys. Our little. Who was going? Ragnar, were you?
Yeah, it's done now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, now we've got 2 new additions,
Oh,
so
you're
I
saying-
got.
you're introducing yourself?
Okay, it's Alex's turn now.
Your turn.
You put me on the spot now. It's my turn.
Hi, I'm Alex. Like my dad said, that's my dad, and this is my twin. Not really sure what else to say about myself, apart from that both Ashton and I have been undergoing a really profound spiritual journey the last while now. On a mission.
Definitely.
Thanks, Alex.
Questions?
Thanks, Alex. Were there any? Well, we'll talk more about that. All right. Who else? Who do we have? Hi, Jade. Welcome, Jade. You have beautiful dimples. Love you.
I'm Rhea. She's my sister. So we just kind of got here because Monroe and I was like, "Do you guys want to go on an adventure?"
As always. I'm so excited to get to know you, bro.
And now we're here. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being a little gift for us tonight. You want to introduce yourself, Frankie?
Yeah.
Or also Frankie Rose?
Frankie Bouquet now.
Frankie Bouquet.
Yeah. Yeah, I can change it.
Fun.
So my last name is Ramos and Spanish and Bouquet.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Yeah. So I love to do music. I also am an artist of all sorts.
Yes,
Photography
she is.
And, I'm really interested in what he's partaking in. Similar. What about enlightenment? I feel like I've been doing a human journey for a really long time. I've been studying a lot of my own mind and minds of others. How we can all relate with one another, communicate on a better level, and make us all feel comfy too. So going through so much all the time.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. So much, yes.
Yeah, and pull each other out of our comfort zone.
It's yeah. How do we do the pulling yourself out of an individual comfort zone to get into a hey? There's another comfort zone. It's bigger, and it's like where all the enjoyment's really at.
Yeah,
This one's like yeah, you can get some enjoyment there, but trust me, it's like ah.
I know. I feel like it's like full acceptance of your experience with another person. So once you like learning empathy, and once you get attached to that empathy, you start feeling it from other people, and it starts coming all over the place. And if somebody's comfortable and you have the space to hold, like you have enough energy to give to them, like intentionally, be like, I'd like to give you this energy, whether it's just through your mind or anything. I don't eyes or just like a grace on them, really brings them down and lets them know that they're safe and open.
So it's so and then in the moment you're like you're the answer to their actual prayer that morning, or you're the exact we are the exact thing everybody's wanting as soon as you just like go relatable. It's like so effortless.
Go relatable,
It's like
be
too
available,
easy.
yeah.
Be available, yeah. Same thing, just be welcoming. What does it mean for me to be a welcoming thing?
It's hard.
Yes, because everybody's so damn wrong.
Well, then we close ourselves off too because of like all the wrongness that happened to us. So it's hard for us to like trust people.
Exactly. That was the hardest thing for me, was trying to figure out how I was going to get collective trust. Because I did not have it until recently in my life. Straight up, not at all. I mean, I acknowledged this morning, I wrote it on my window, that I'm actually, all the way to the very end of it, I'm a psychopath. I'm literally a psychopath that's learning love. And now I went all the way to the very end of it, and I'm like, it's all love at the very end.
Yeah.
So I figured it out. Yes. But I'm a psychopath. I am. So, hey guys, I'm a psychopath. You know I'm a psychopath now. Trust me, I'm a psychopath.
Me too. I promise.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
We're all crazy.
No,
But for real, we are all
that I'm
a little
psychopath.
crazy, yeah.
But it's all the chaos that's there that
Yeah.
we just then can order it if we want to. And then say, hey, now I live an intentional life. Here's why I do this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I was looking at the questions on here that what is something you feel really passionate about and what motivates you to pursue it? And then, she was talking about music, but then also like what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in your life and how have you overcome them? Well, those two like kind of blend in together for me. One of my passions was music. Well, it is music. And one of the biggest challenges that I faced in my life was an addiction to heroin and opiates. And so
Wow.
it was kind of a weird thing to get into the music because I had this like, oh, well, a lot of the greats do heroin, and it's this weird stigma.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had gotten into this whole thing also because of a car accident. I was addicted to pills. And then when it got down to the heroin, it was out of a 13-year addiction to opiates. That last year was addicted to heroin. I never used needles because they terrify me. But I smoked it. It was really, really detrimental to my health. And I got to a point where I was like, I need to change. Because I had always loved writing and performing music up until the heroin kind of kicked in. I was like, wait a minute. I'm writing some really, really dark stuff, and I don't like it. And this catalyst, I guess this event had occurred that just kind of shook my life up, and then like, here, now you got to pick it all back up, which is I was arrested on falsified charges from the West Valley City Police Department. It was 7 felonies and 5 misdemeanors, and I was facing life plus 30 years in prison. And I was like, it was really, really heavy point in my life.
Heavy.
And when I got out of there, it's really weird because I was addicted to opiates when this whole thing started to like boil up. And when I got this call to go to ayahuasca ceremony, I researched and I saw it on Netflix, Drugs Incorporated. There was a specific episode about ayahuasca and how it helps people get over their addictions to substances. And I was like, oh, I got a call to go to ayahuasca, I'm going to take it. And so when I went and I went to that ceremony, I went with every ounce of my energy. Like, I need to get rid of this addiction because it's killing me. It's like going to destroy my family and everything. So I went and I did the diet. Wholeheartedly, I committed to the diet. Over 7 days beforehand, the diet is no sex, alcohol, masturbation, no pharmaceutical drugs, no cigarettes with additive chemicals, no dairy, and they say that it's mandatory 24-hour fast before you take the medicine, but it's recommended for the best results to fast for 72 hours before taking the medicine. So I went 3 full days without eating beforehand, and when I got there, the experience was just like, because I'd done a lot of psychedelics before in my life, but I never did it in a sacred, like, ceremonial setting where they had the fire and the sage and just like magic. The whole thing was magic. And so after like 30 minutes after taking the medicine, I was like sitting there and I had my eyes closed and the medicine started to kick in and I was feeling it and it was this really warm wave, like this peach colored wave of energy, this loving energy just, oh, that's weird. And then I saw this, like, I could hear Abuela Luna say, harmonica, give me the harmonica. And someone handed her the harmonica and when she started going, on the harmonica, that's me, my imitation of a harmonica. When she started doing that, the color started to, I could see the sound waves coming through my eyes closed, and it was like these waves that looked like tentacles from a jellyfish, and I was like, that's beautiful. It's like, it's this beautiful with my eyes closed. I wonder what it looks like with my eyes open. So I opened them, and it was like, you know when you're outside and it's a really beautiful bright day, and you kind of close your eyes, and then you open them, and it's for a little bit, and it's like brighter. Well, it was like that, but it was like when I opened my eyes, there's all these colors that I'd never seen before that were all made up of water. So the light inside me was reflecting the water. It was really weird to try to explain it, and I was like, man, this is so beautiful. And I looked down to the left, and there's this dead body laying on the ground. I'm like, is anybody seeing this dead body? And I look behind me, there's this girl like 10, 15 feet away. She's like, and like throwing up. And I'm like, oh, nobody's paying attention to this. This is for me. This is like something internal. So I was like, who is that? And I like looked down to see who it was, and I realized when I leaned down, it was me, and I was dead. The skin was decomposing and decaying and falling from my skull, and my clothes were tattered and withered, and they were falling apart like I'd been there for a long time, and I was becoming a part of the earth, like I was decomposing. And when I saw it, I became so afraid, like, oh, like, I'm dead. Like, it was so weird. It was like I started holding my breath, and right when it felt like 3 dull daggers like piercing through my heart, like, oh no, this is not good. And all of a sudden, I was like, I need to get out of here. This is too much. And right when I was about to die, like all the energy in my body, I felt it come all the way up to my third eye. And then it's just like this rosebud just bursted open. And all these petals just kept unfolding in this being of light, like with these light, it's weird, like frequency sound wings. I was like, oh. I realized I was holding my breath from the moment I saw that it was me. I was like, oh my gosh, am I dead? And it was all telepathic. It was like, no. This is your addiction to the heroin and the opiates dying. But it's the exact same thing that will happen to you if you choose to use opiates and heroin willingly ever again. And I was like, oh. Easy one. Yeah, I'm not doing that. And I started laughing, and everybody in the ceremony was all crying and stuff, and I'm sitting there like, like having a blast. And I had this experience where I'm laying down on the ground and I see this being like flash in front of the sun. I'm like, oh, that's my spirit guide. I'm supposed to say, I'm a true being of love and light. Who are you? And when I said that, the shadow in front of the sun like perked up like it was going to say something, but then the sun opened up like a mouth and just, and I felt like this, like this being, like just, I was like, okay, that wasn't my spirit guide. I was like, it's not. And so the sun closed back up, and I looked down, and there's this huge portal, this rainbow ring around the sun. And I see these rain clouds forming, and there's this guy who's like looking over his shoulder at me. I'm like, well, I'm a true being of love and light. Who are you? And he looks and he says, I'm Gabriel. And he goes like this, and these wings like come out from behind him. He's just this, the physique of this guy is just like, whoa. And he took off, and all the clouds went outside of the ring. I was like, oh, is this real? Is this like reality right now? Climbed through, and I had this experience where it was like, the music that I was writing is not helping anybody. And then I was like, wait a minute. I've been trying to write music because I've been thinking, oh, there's a financial gain, there's like the most lucrative. But that's not the reason for music. Music is to celebrate life, and it's an expression to heal the soul. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my purpose. And so I looked, like, it was weird. I like was able to see all the songs I'd written. I was like, that's really crappy lyrics. Like, I need to change that. And I went through all the songs that I had written and I changed them. And then I started recording the album, Resurrecting the Mind. So that's the first album.
I like that.
Was like on ceremony. And now that I knew how to do ceremony, when I was in the recording studio, I'd bring candle and some sage and some psilocybin or whatever medicine that was available. I'd be like, okay, my intention for taking this medicine is to implement my energy onto the frequencies that are coming out while it's being recorded to help raise the vibration and the consciousness of the planet. And I was, as a Reiki master, was doing these symbols into the music as it was coming out. And so the first album's Resurrecting the Mind. If you get online and look up A Dead Desire, that's what comes out. And I named it A Dead Desire because the desire to use heroin and opiates is completely dead.
Beautiful.
So it's like,
Beautiful.
so branching off of the music, I just wanted to kind of like lead into that little experience and kind of kill two birds with one stone on these questions here.
Thank you, Maria. That was beautiful.
Thank you
That
for
was a
listening.
very powerful story, bro.
Really powerful.
Very, very intense story.
He's got a handful or two.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Quite a few.
Well, you've done ayahuasca a few times, and I would imagine you got at least 3 stories.
Upwards of 70 some odd ceremonies, yeah. And most of them have been volunteering now, like just to be of service to other people, yeah. Because it's like that, if you get to a certain point, the goal is to get to that point and then turn around and be like, oh, we're all equal, we're all the same being. Let's help each other all get to this same space. And we're all on the same wavelength, and there's no need for that fear.
Exactly.
There's only 2 emotions that every other emotion resonate from, that's fear or love. And so like anger, jealousy, greed, all that comes from fear, but then compassion, charity, empathy, love, joy, happiness, peace, that all comes from love. So it's like, what kind of reality do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a reality where you're always fearful and looking over your shoulder and you're miserable all the time? Or do you want to just be like, worry about it because everything's beautiful. You know, it's really, really crazy. And then when you're in that state, all you have to do is just keep resonating that love, and then naturally the universe has this big baggage that just keeps throwing. And so that's the balance. It's just how you choose to react, or I like to use the word respond, because reacting can get you in trouble. Whereas responding, you kind of like analyze the situation, and before you react, you're like, oh, well, that made me feel this way, so, oh, okay, before I react out of anger, you know, I'm going to internalize this situation real quick and feel it. I don't like the way that made me feel. Hey, is there any possible way that we could not do that?
Reactions require no forethought or attention.
Yeah, it's just you react. Or the response is like,
The response comes after we've already received. So instead of resisting, we're just receiving instead.
Yeah, you're just
now
flowing.
we're just receptive.
Yeah.
Instead of resisting.
You're the conduit, and you're being able to flow instead of like, hey, you know, that resist. Yeah, and then by resisting, you just keep perpetuating that samsara, that wheel of karma, instead of breaking it and going
still happening
nirvana.
to me instead of for me.
Yeah, you're victimizing yourself. It's like, why? Why? If you like take a break and you're just like, you can hear the AC sound of well, that's her like tapping over there, like just being conscious and aware of everything. That's where the peace is, instead of like focusing on like, man, I gotta sit here and think about all the problems of my day. And it's like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? Because you could
What
sit.
does it accomplish?
Nothing. It just makes that garbage more garbage.
I still feel like when you're going through an awakening, before you actually get to the place where you can just be fully aware, being in your mind can help with you friends with your mind.
Yeah.
And
Very
nurture
well
the
said,
mind.
Frankie, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just being so, because I mean, without thought, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's like
And
that's like
where
Alan Watts
creativity
says.
comes from and all kinds
You have
of
to go
stuff.
inside to find the answers to realize that they're there.
Yeah.
So there is a purpose
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
discomfort
it's
and
so
the
important
rage and all
to
the
honor
things.
yourself and love yourself so that you can feel like you deserve to enjoy living and make that change for yourself so you can have
Exactly.
Do I really deserve to enjoy it all day long? I didn't believe it until just recently. I'm over 50. I didn't believe I deserved to enjoy living until just now. What? That was the psychopath in me trying to go through went through all my codependencies, trying to figure it out. I went through all my, trying to get independence, trying to figure it out. Trying to figure out how to become relatable. And I'm like, I'm fucking unrelatable. I'm just not a relatable thing yet. And what do I got to do to become relatable? And so I just took my psychopathy all the way to the very end and said, I'm going to beat the fuck out of myself until I don't want to beat anything up anymore.
Yeah.
I need to lose my violence. And so what we're gifting to the world right now is the loss of our violence. We don't have to be violent anymore. We've already gotten rid of Genghis Khan. We don't have that stuff anymore. Why? The ports aren't all having ship, they're not firing at ships because they're afraid that everybody's coming in to steal all their gold. We don't have that world anymore.
Yeah.
We have a world where we can be really in a place where we all deserve to enjoy living. We're not done yet. There's lots to explore. Trust me, just go to any single person and say, hey, what's unique about you? Find a universe.
Yeah.
A whole entire universe to explore in every single moment of every person. It's so beautiful. Link, I want to make sure we don't skip off. I want you to introduce yourself to everybody, Link.
Alan Watts has a thing about that thinking gate is it can be useful in moderation. Just like the Overthinker song by Enzo. He says the person who thinks all day has nothing to think about but thoughts. And when I say thoughts, it's just chatter in the skull. That when you have the ability to direct that thought for a purpose, it's like a good servant with a bad master, and we are the bad master who are letting our thoughts run wild. You know what I mean?
Come on
Until
in.
you become
Have a seat.
Yeah. It's a beautiful concept. How's it going, brother? Man?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm Ronai.
Daniel,
Nice
good to meet you. I like that name.
Thank you.
We're all just introducing ourselves to each other and talking about how to be cozy and laugh at each other. And,
Right on.
and so you're perfect timing. We were just getting ready to have Link introduce himself, and then you can go next if you wanted to.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I'm Lincoln. I've been on a journey of connecting ideas and people since like early high school, and I realized that the religious paradigm was outmoded garbage, and the information we were getting through our institutions was half just made up, especially in relation to health and drugs and things. So, took the hard path and said, "Oh, I'm gonna go find the answers myself." Then, since there's no real reliable information to be found. And so I went through some hard things and a couple prison stays, and I think the first five of the first 7 years of my adult life were incarcerated. And then the last time I decided, you know what, for every day I'm here, it's going to cost the existing, structure. And I started reading and writing and studying and litigated my way out of prison without any help from attorneys who my public defender, I basically provided evidence of collusion with the prosecutor and negligence of the judge.
Wow.
To get the prosecutor to come run and write quick up to the prison and say, sign these paperwork and we'll have you out by the end of the week.
Yeah.
File no further and then we'll make this all go away for you.
Wow.
And then since then, like that was the most amazing time when I got out because I've been studying and focusing on everything in the next life where uplift and empower anybody who came within a verbal vicinity.
What would you? How would you do that? How would you go about empowering somebody?
Man, just letting them know that they are human, they are capable of achieving whatever it is they need to achieve. And there's things in the way of that, sure, and those are individual to everybody. But I mean, everybody's got similar situations, maybe contextually in phase or in line, but different scenario. But there are no challenges that are so personal that they can't be benefited from or gotten over more easily without sharing.
Right. Well said.
And sometimes that's all it takes is just like letting people know, hey, I get that there's, you know, that you got issues or problems of whatever nature they are, but something that you just need an ear for to help you think through it out loud, so that you're actually at least doing that much, or doing a journal, like always about, you know, being able to reflect, and even if that's externally, and letting people know that that's something that needs to happen.
Right.
Yeah,
Very
very
good.
And then they discovered psychedelics and started sharing them all over to everywhere as much as possible. Started creating cracks in all the doorways.
Thanks for that, by the way. Yeah, much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Thank you. It's helped all of us.
For real.
Yes. I wish I was as smart as you, Lee. Because it took me a while longer to figure out what you figured out.
I mean, I grew up Mormon, all nice and straight and clean, and like straight A's and everything else, until like the conflict with the recognition of the failure of the institutions, and now it's not really their fault because they were, you know, misinformed in their creation.
Part of the program.
Yeah, you can't blame your parents because they didn't know any better, because they just, you know, fell in
Yeah,
line
there's
with
nothing wrong with it.
institutions.
If everything's okay, yeah.
So I just started getting loud about it and being like, hey, we need to fix these things, you know, like, I know it doesn't exactly correlate with your little religious paradigm and your methodology into the perceived heaven that you've created, but we need to do things now, here.
Right?
And, you know, it caused me some problems and some adventures and a whole hard left turn. Followed by another hard right and, you know, a couple more lefts. Like, one point vertical, there's no walking involved.
But I took a hard left at Albuquerque.
No, I went straight through that one.
Nice, yeah.
No, but it's been a blast, and it's like after all the troubles of, you know, fresh out of school and everything else, and just running amok and just figuring it out with myself the hard way, and being blessed with very, very harm reductive people into a lot of the crazier and more undesirable drugs that are probably not medicines except for in extremely limited contexts. Yeah, it was a long and adventurous road that I'm highly grateful. Created a whole unique place to come from, be able to share, and be able to, you know, help understand and translate, you know, from you know, a perspective to another, you know, sports analogy to a nature analogy for some people. They can, you know, meet on some terms. It's
Right.
just all those kinds of little things. It's greatly expanded the possibility of an immediate recognition of those gaps and being able to fill.
Yeah, awesome. That's one thing I had noticed about you the very first second I met you, Link, was that you were, you love Gary. I instantaneously knew that you were just a big old ball of light. And as I approached you, I got embraced by you. We just immediately embraced each other so fast and effortlessly just started like working on each other's bodies. We didn't want to let go for a minute. It's like I want to take you home and keep you with me all day long because you get it. You get the concept that we're all here for each other. And I said, hey, what's your, and I've been for the last 17, 18 years being owner on the business world, finding out that no company has a why. I very rarely ever heard anybody even come close to it because they were all transactionalizing relationships and they didn't even understand the concept. And finding a why in life, it seems kind of insurmountable, like impossible at first. Like, I just don't know. I just can't. We're glitching out on it. Like, why do I exist? Why?
I chased all those whys. I traced all those whys to you know, kind of realizing it's just an Ouroboros thing where you just don't tell. And you create the why.
Exactly. Yes. And I found out that you were creating. You knew what the creation was. And when I asked you why you lived, I mean, I didn't even ask you why you lived. I said, hey, well, what's your story? You told me your wife first, and then how, and then I was like, what? I never hear this. This is what I've been doing. I've been helping artists like get their clarity for so long now, and it was so rare for me to ever see that. So anyway, it was a big old bright spot. Like all the rest of us.
great to be participating and, you know, getting it going. So
Tell everybody too what just happened. You were the one who. Tell everybody what happened just the other night when you heard about COZSNUG.
Oh, yeah, well, I saw the word and the way it's written, and immediately it was like, oh no, that's a soft C. You gotta pronounce it.
Instantaneously, he knew it was a soft C. He was like,
I was like, that's not COZSNUG, that's COZSNUG. It's the way cozier word.
and he immediately I was like, yeah, we just put the zhuzh back. We put the zhuzh into it. I was like, I love you.
Like, that's not my word, not trying to step in on it, that's just what came out of my mouth.
What is the
Zhuzh. Zhuzh, like what? How do you define
Zhuzh something
zhuzh?
up.
If you
You
zhuzh
zhuzh it
something
up.
up, you're putting the zhuzh into something.
Sparkle.
It's like
Like-
you're adding zestiness
The
and
pizzazz.
vitality into something.
It's like the community zest.
Is that an actual
It's-
term? Or
Zhuzh is an actual cultural term that I don't know who made it up, how long ago, but yeah, it's culturally accepted right now. You hear it on TV here and there, and Queer Eye uses it quite often.
Okay.
Jonathan in Queer Eye uses it all the time.
Okay. I didn't know, so I was curious. Because I was curious as to what I thought it said COZSNUG. Cozy. Right? No.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's what it is.
There's a millions of layers of meanings on it. We've been talking about some of them, but I have a whole
There's,
list
you
of all these
pronounce
things.
it however you want.
But everybody will have their own meaning on it. We just wanted
Yeah.
there to be a universal word, so now we have something for the whole world to hear that is universally easy to say for, and going back and forth and I try to figure out
A
the
little
best
more
word.
accessible than Grok from Heinlein.
Grok. Or yeah, Gamudikite did that
Precisely.
No. Or the one you said. How do you say it in Faroese again?
Hookah. Hookah.
Oh, that one's kind of
It's the same.
Get together and play cards.
all right.
You're up,
Dan,
Daniel.
you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Daniel. I also think Lincoln is great. He's a friend that brought me here, so I really appreciate him doing that. And it's a pleasure to be here. Not sure if I'll be back soon, but it's been great visiting, and I do expect to come back and visit friends when I do come. So if I don't come back, don't think it's because of anything other than I'm
It won't be because you
a
don't
long
know.
ways away. Because I'm from McMinnville, Oregon, which is Portland area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just taking a trip to deliver a friend to Arkansas, and then I saw some family in Texas, and then stopped to see him both ways, just because, complete the circle. So yeah, and then we stayed an extra day just so we could come here.
Nice.
Then I accidentally waited outside, thinking that I was waiting on his car,
Oh, no.
and I actually heard that he was taking the other car, but I just wasn't thinking. I was more looking at my phone, thinking, "Oh, he's taking a little while. We're gonna be late. I don't know." Finally, I texted, and I was when I was like, "So are we?" That was like, "So are we going?" And then I realized, oh yeah, I've been texting myself. So are you going the whole time? So, but I'm a gardener in Oregon. It's what I was meant to do. It's just like everybody gets one thing. I feel like, and that's my one thing. I'm really good at it. And I've learned a lot through just the analogies. I've me and Lee could have this conversation all the time, and I don't know how this differs from the group or whatever. So I don't mean to step on any toes, but just to put it out there, that I don't necessarily think all the institutions are necessarily wrong, because a lot of them have put together a framework that has been really helpful for me in different religions as far as just to battling through different ideas, even if they're dead ones, because I'd have something to compare it to, And I feel like it's kind of given me a springboard. Been kicked out of a lot of churches, walked away from a lot of churches, walked away from a lot of different things that were kind of promising this or that, communes and whatnot. Tried to start a few that were start and fails, but learned a lot from the failures, so they weren't necessarily mistakes if you don't miss them, miss the lessons. So, but I do think that their success is really in the fact that they're not meant to be permanent. They're meant to kind of be that crib for the baby till the baby can walk or whatever. Or what's a better analogy? The walker for the baby.
I thought something so similar. It was like a vehicle. It was like a certain kind of a vehicle that got me to a certain place. While I needed that kind of a vehicle, it was just so perfect.
I'd say it more like see if it makes it clear, like it's more like a governor on a hot rod, and we're like a teenager that isn't necessarily responsible enough to have that hot rod.
It's a helpful governor.
Yeah. And so like it's kind of taxes us and wastes what it is and wars away stuff and does things inefficiently and whatever, spends a lot of time concentrating on stuff that we find out is wrong, but all that's just to kind of eat up time and eat up our energy until we're able to work together with our own free will. Because the way I see it right now is that the collective power of people together is like, we're all like little batteries of the divine creative force, but it's all locked up to where our potential is meant to be with each other, because that's what that spirit wanted. That's why we're here, created different people so we could be with each other to do things, because it didn't want to be alone. You know, so we've already succeeded just by being here together, even if we're not doing exactly what we all think we should be doing at any moment, you know. And there is that why too, where it's constantly just turning into that circle, and the why may change from day to day just based on how you're feeling that day, you know, but having that ability to ask that why and for it to change to a new thing is kind of the, like, that is the heaven, you know, because it's not just one static nothing, you know, which is what it was if you trace everything back, you know. But in any case, you know, I try not to let that make me apathetic, you know, because I kind of see, like, the harder things get, the more people are going to be willing to listen to things and try new things, you know. So, you know, I'm not necessarily scared of things getting a little bit, like the system's failing or things getting tougher. I actually kind of get excited about that, because I'm like, oh, finally, you know, it could go on like this forever, and I'd be kind of comfortable with my little trailer and barbecue and my little plant creation stuff. I'd be happy doing that the rest of my life, you know, but it is, I do want to see that we do have the same kind of, you know, longing for that kind of, to see everything work together better. But like I said, a lot of times things have to break a little bit before it gives people a reason to come back together. And also it has to break a little bit before people are willing to let go of some of the things that aren't necessarily as important as the, you know, things around them. I mean, if people are hungry and, you know, needing water, and there's things that need to be done right there for the community, it's a lot easier to step aside people's doctrinal differences and political differences and things, you know. The common necessity breeds that community, you know, way better than just everybody off on their own. Like, the main thing the tax system does, it separates everybody into individuals. We all wanted to be our little kings, you know, so we all got our freedom, but that comes at the price of all of us being under the, you know, the slave bondage of taxation and the government, you know. So, but like I said, I think it's all in that divine timing coming to an end. I think groups like this are really important, you know, for people to get together. I mean, half the stuff I've learned about anything I know about the world or spirituality or anything came from either looking at the things that are here or talking to the people that are around me, you know. And so, and we've talked about this before too. It's why we talk each other's ear off. He lets me talk his ear off sometimes, because he's one of the only people who understands a lot of things, or one of the few, but that I talk to regularly. But it's just so important to outwardly say stuff and share it with somebody else, you know, because then you get that one thing back from them that you weren't able to get. Their experience is so different, you know, that you can't get that from them. You can't live 1,000 lives, you know, but you can share with one person. They can share that one thing back with you. And then it's not necessarily any one person's creation, you know. Like, I have my idea of what to do and how to do it and the different facets of it. But those things aren't really mine, you know. They're just a collection of the things I put together from talking to, you know, hundreds of people, you know.
Right.
But you can't teach, you know, caring about it, you know. And like I said, a lot of people are just apathetic and kind of lulled into easiness just by how easy it is here. And we forget that we're not, you know, Americans or, you know, like Indians or, you know, Russians or whatever. We're humans. It's human race, you know, not black, white, whatever. It's humans. There's one race, you know. And we forget that. We forget all those things come at a cost and everything, and that the rest of the world isn't like this place, and that America, I think that the bill of goods that was sold to America and the people we have here was a good one, but I think it turned into a carrot and a stick thing pretty quick, you know, and it's kind of, we had the illusion of it, and it was used to kind of mistreat the rest of the world, you know. So, but once again, I think even that, like, we needed to have something like this to where everybody could have the ability to just drive, do cell phones, internet, and everything, so that we could put the pieces together. But now that we have, when the press starts to come on us, we need to make sure to disseminate that out in a way that's like not the same top-down model, and like that it's more organically grown.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I appreciated. That's why I wanted to meet you. I appreciated the what I understand so far about the credo behind your podcast or whatever is, or whoever's podcast, the group.
It's all of us. It's
okay.
us right here.
Sweet.
It's us. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just
you just came right into it. You're it. You're part of it.
Yes. Oh, is it happening right now?
It's us.
Oh, this is the podcast.
Yeah, we're all live right now.
Oh, it's happening right now. Oh, okay.
The whole world. We're gonna look at the camera right behind you.
I take it all back.
Say hello, everybody.
I take it all back.
Good thing I didn't start talking about anybody. Well, yeah, okay. Well, then in that case, be a little bit more careful with what I say. But no, I probably would have said the exact same thing. I mean, I might have been a little bit more concise, but I tend to rabbit trail sometimes, like right now. But yeah, but anyway, I mean, I guess that's it. I just appreciate everybody having me here. Once again, I just value everybody's opinion, like hearing everything people have to say, you know. And
I want to ask you before we go off of that.
Sure.
I want to ask you about McMindo. How long have you been in McMindo?
Since 04.
Oh, do you know Jerry and Linda? Jerry owns the 3rd Street Pizza. On
Yeah.
Main,
Mm-hmm.
and-
Yeah, I've known him for a
Linda
long
owns
time.
The hopscotch.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of my friends have worked for him. My buddy still works for him right now, and
I love them
it's
so
a
much.
staple
They're
out
such
there.
dear friends of mine.
Yeah, and I'm really good friends with Linda's sister. She's
yeah.
lived with me for a long time, Sheena.
Oh, she did. Sheena lived with you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a small world.
Yeah, she's great. So
Yeah,
we've been friends a long time.
Linda writing this really powerful letter to Sheena that just made me cry.
yeah, I've read it. She had it. Yeah, I know all about all that. So yeah, it's very, very, very beautiful family, and they're very just there's a reason they're fixtures in that community. It's just because they're great people. So.
Yeah, and there's a reason they've been on my mind for a lot lately too. So
Well,
thank
you should
for
come visit,
doing
'cause
that.
now you have more-
Yeah, I'm gonna be.
And I'm there too, you know. So that's another reason.
Now we're coming. Now we're
Yeah,
coming.
totally, you should.
Yeah.
I have a question real quick. Is this the buddy that you had on that recording that was talking about the
Yeah.
book of Genesis?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck yeah. That's
Hi.
awesome.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It's Moroni.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
totally.
the one on the recording that I heard that was.
Yours was the AI one. Yours was
Okay,
the
yours
Genesis
about
one.
AI. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. We need to have a conversation about AI.
Well, that's why we stayed today, is just to get that. I figured if that was happening today, we were going to leave this morning, but we decided to
Thank
stay
you.
just for that.
I'm so glad that you stayed.
Well, I follow open doors. You know, when I see the thread, they're pretty easy to see.
effortless.
You know, it's
It's
like,
all right,
oh,
man.
this is happening this, and I'm one day away, and I'll never get back. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this today.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
yeah, it's a
you.
pleasure to be here. Thanks for
So
opening
much.
your own.
Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing all that. You didn't
Yeah.
go. That was all stuff we wanted to hear.
Oh,
I
sweet.
wanted to hear
Okay.
all that because I wanted to get to know all that about you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you validating that.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
you're nothing but 100% welcome here, bro.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Might hit you up for a shower before I leave. We've been on the road. We've been on the road a long time.
Should have told me. I was thinking that too when you said hot springs. I'm like, they probably want a shower, and I was like, we only have an hour though.
Well, if you know, if not, I always got my wet wipes and the bird bath out at the trailer stop. So one way or another, it will happen.
There's things to do, you make do.
Yeah, totally. You find a way. You know, there's always a way.
We're
Should
just
we-
about at
should
the
we
end
ask-
of this. I want to know if everyone's gotten to look at these questions. Like, if there's anyone who hasn't gotten to look at this.
Should we ask
I'd
one?
love to,
Should we
like-
ask one of the
like,
questions?
I'd
Should we
love to
have
ask
one of the
another one of
questions?
these before
These
we
are
end
questions
off, 'cause,
to
like-
empower our empathy. We just want to know the kinds of things that can help us, and this seems like an effortless way to do it. Let's get together and share our stories with each other, and this helps me become less and less of a psychopath every single day. Right? By learning to love every single part of every one of you, I am a better human by far, and I'm a lot smarter than I used to be. I'm a lot faster than I used to be. I'm a lot in every single way. I just feel like it's by receiving you that I'm just like, and that's the only way to do it. It's how I heal myself. It's by just receiving everything. Everyone's my teacher. Everyone's instructed. How can it not be?
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, I'm suffering, and it's my choice. And I'm not even in choice anymore. I'm just destined, and so I still believe in choice and destiny. I don't believe in choice anymore because I don't understand how it really works.
It's both.
Yeah. Well, it's both, but it's all both at the same time, and if I'm not aware of it, then it ain't choice.
That reminds me
Well,
of
it's
part
free.
of the way.
Free. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, my bad. That reminds me of that I am. The other part of it is I am, therefore I think.
Yeah.
I think. I am.
I think.
The way I see it is like there's the truth that it came before is the predestined thing of the now that comes now, but then the free will comes in to choose from that point the next moment.
Right.
But then that next moment becomes the predestined thing. So the predestiny and free will work together only in singularity, and because you're a conscious being making that inside of a paradigm of a truth, cause and effect existence, then that's where predestination and truth meet each other in
Yes.
each second. You know.
Every single moment.
Well
Yes,
put.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Said.
It took
Wow.
me a while to get that. I was in Bible school a long time ago, and we were doing Calvinism versus Arminianism, which is predestination versus free will. And I remember saying to my Bible school teacher, he was like, it could be this, could be that, and go into all the reasons why they clash, you know. And I was like, I bet it's both. He goes, they can't be both. I was like, yeah, I bet it's both. And then years later, I figured it kind of all made sense, and I was like, yeah, I was right, it was both. He still won't give it to me, but it's still
And
both.
it's even more than both. It's just all of it.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
It's all there. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Singularities, they're peculiar.
That the word singularity is like a word that we don't have collective, knowledge or trust of, or it's just
Don't have a lot of examples of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you talk about it, it's kind of let's talk about this for 1 second. How do we simplify? I could tell a story that's a real story that just happened in my life recently that ties very deeply into why I chose this new name of Neo, son of Dio. Because you were there, Frankie.
Yeah, I was.
Frankie was there.
I love the name. I love the concept.
Because you were extremely close to our Dio.
I still am.
Dio.
Jake Jones, and we, of course we still are. He's right here, right now. Jake Jones, I'll share this real quick.
Dio Dionysus Jacob Tiberius Jones.
Thank you. Look at all those names. What an ego, right? What an ego.
You can see that's
Oh, he was the biggest ego head ever.
The guy's so cool, he needs 6 names.
Exactly.
pretty much, yeah.
He just got in a car wreck. How long ago has it been now?
It was in October.
October, coming back
October.
from Austin, Texas. And our friend Matt was driving. He's okay. And he died.
Oh no.
And another, I didn't meet the other guy, TJ, who also died in the car. And my relationship, Jake, is at the time, he would come and we would talk about relationship. He would cry his eyes out about how he was trying to be in love with Alexandria, and he was saying, I think she's the one, I think she's all the way, I think I can, and he would cry because he was challenged with his own addictions. And he hated the fact that he was being deceptive at some level. He said he eradicated almost all of it, but he was so he was heartbroken because he wanted so bad to just love all the way, and he was like right there. The last conversation I ever had with him, just wept to me. Said, I know what love is, and I want to be it so bad, but there's this, why do I just like this so much? Why do I just like that so much? And what I gained from Jake in this last conversation was to take the hardest possible look at my own addictions. Every one of them. When I started to become aware of my psychopathy, the fullest extent of it all. Jake used to say, and we shared in common that we didn't really have like a really solid like father figure growing up. That we could like just go and talk to and be like, have that father. And so he told me, he said, this is so refreshing to feel like I have a father to come to and talk to. The second I found out that he died, it was just instantaneously my father. I got instructed by him so clearly that everyone was my father in that moment. That it's me that I'm looking at, that I'm the father. I have to be the father. And he's been my father ever since. And you've been my father. Everyone's been my father since. What's happened inside of me, this experience that happened right after that, I'll never be able to put into words sufficiently, but Jake Jones, this badass, I'm just sitting there in a moment of my own little singularity, knowing that I'm one with everything. It's effortless. I've been fighting the game for so long, but I found out that it's effortless to just accept everything as it is. I'm sitting there accepting everything as it is, and I'm like, well, everything's real. Everything is. Everything is. This is, it's all. The answer is yes to everything. And as I'm celebrating that, Jake pops up out of the goo in front of me. As visible as I can see every one of you right now. With pristine detail, I saw every single, and I can't forget any of it. Comes up out of the goo, eyes locked on me. One hand a little high, starts coming up like this, and he locks eyes on me. There's this moment of just like, here I am. What are you gonna do with me? And he locks eyes on me, and my eyes and his eyes lock, and all of a sudden, everything between it is all completely connected, and it's my entire lifespan and his entire lifespan all completely just all of a sudden just swirl together, and we just completely assimilate into each other. I'm like, that happens to humans now? Wow. I'm one with Jake. I'm one. He's all 100% one with me. I've assimilated all of him into myself. And now I'm empowered by Jake and by me and every single, and by my mother and my father and my brothers and my sisters, and every single thing every symbol and word I ever heard my whole entire life is now all pristinely a perfect part of my story. That I love my religion now. And Mormonism is a beautiful part of my life. I love all my Mormon friends and family. I don't want to change their lives. Why? Why would I not honor right where they're at? Now what do I want my story to look like? I don't want any more exclusive temples around the world. This is bullshit. They can be an inclusive place. The temples can be turned into inclusive, like, COZSNUG places. What a great place to be COZSNUG, right?
For real.
Why not? So I'm going to start saying this to the world because I know more than the prophets. Right?
Don't feel like
I'll
that's a stretch.
prophesy.
I don't feel like that's a stretch.
What's that?
I don't feel like that's a stretch.
Me neither.
It's not a stretch at all. Because it's our reality. We get to create whatever meaning we want to. As soon as we command it, we set the words. If I say words, we put it out. It's real now. So why waste our
We
words?
think it's real.
Exactly.
The word is the first physical act of manifestation.
After we've already created the vibration with our thought, which is another part of the manifestation, right?
We've designed
You
it.
spell it into existence with the word. Yeah.
Then the word becomes a thing that controls everything. So the highest form of art that I know of so far is the word. That came into this world, and my mom put the first letter behind my name, and it was a K. And then an E. And then an N. And so every one of those that just started culminating together, and every description that I got was, here's what you are. And then I found out, no, I'm not. But yes, I am. And I accept all of it now. And so I think we're just all here on the playground having fun as soon as we realize it. And those of us that aren't, do they deserve it? I'm in agreement that they all deserve it now. Even if I don't feel like somebody's in the middle of acting like they deserve it, why not hit ourselves in the ass with that wind? Because when we push forth this way, isn't it all coming back and hitting us right back in the... So every ounce of self-love I give is an act of love to humanity.
Yeah.
It's a dignity act. Now I get the word because I actually care all the way about myself. If I don't have love for everybody else. Because right in that moment, I feel small at some level. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But I'm
lying to myself at some level about what love is because I'm watering it down to some tough love or some love that I used to might have someday or some love I used to have or love you from a distance. Dave?
One of my friends a long time ago told me that love is not a feeling, you know, it's a choice. That love is what you do when you don't feel like doing it. Like love is a choice that you make because you